Ladies and gentlemen, it's General Greene. God bless you. A lot of people looking for answers, looking for more government after what happened in recent days. I think it's the exact opposite that is what we need. Ladies and gentlemen, the founding fathers came and fought a king to avoid taxation without representation and to seek less government and economic monetary freedom. Let's not forget that the number one key to slavery, your slavery tuning in, and populations worldwide is the power of a GUN. And in addition to that, as a helicopter flies above me, the monetary system, the scam that is the Federal Reserve, the scam that is the central bank, the scam that is the monetary system. That is the key to slavery of populations worldwide. You see, they want you fighting two-party divisive politics, right versus left. They want you to think that the war is against each other, but not those in power, not the centralized authorities, not the central bank, not the politicians that might be crony, not the banksters that bailed themselves out in 2008-09. And this is precisely the PSYOP and the psychological operation. Again, Charlie was right. You need to get off your phones. There's no internet here, by the way. It's one of the most peaceful places in the world. And I've got huge announcements coming. Deck 2 is being launched imminent. If you haven't RSVP'd yet with my father, please do it 808-442-2934 or you won't get in. We must understand that the tools of engagement in slavery is the monetary system itself. This is how every indigenous population has been conquered, by foreign entities. This is how the American people have been conquered, by the hyperinflationary trash US dollar, backed and printed from nothing into infinity. So stop fighting each other. Focus more on economic, social, and community-oriented solutions. You see, that's the difference between us, the Island Project, and so much else. What you're hearing is just media entertainment. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing, ladies and gentlemen. I read the passage about Jesus being the bread of life and the good shepherd, talking about the fact that hirelings, right, false leaders will lead the sheep to slaughter because they take no ownership of the sheep like Jesus did when he walked on water. Folks, when he moved a mountain through the power and simply through the faith of a mustard seed. And so there's a lot of wolves right now. I guarantee that they are going to try to circumvent, vacuum up the Christian movement. This is what I'm seeing. I'm just being honest. I see people that should not be leading Christians to slaughter. They're the hirelings that they warn us about in the Bible that are leading the sheep nowhere, that are not good representatives of Christ, that offer zero pragmatic solutions or hope. And I want you to be very, very careful out there today and understand that your actions do matter. Again, everybody can feel this darkness, this spiritual darkness, the fact that the wolf has now shown himself. We saw this in 2020, this permeating sense that impending doom is coming, spiritual yearning. We feel this in our hearts. We see a movement towards God, people waking up to the truth, understanding that this is a war between good and evil. And so with that being said, I hope you understand that politics is not the solution, that division is not the solution, that the king laughs, ladies and gentlemen. Your politicians laugh. They've created orchestrated division for a reason along racial lines, along religious lines. We see how they've placed key figures to vacuum a lot of anti-rhetoric I'm not allowed to talk about regarding the files. Okay, those people are placeholders, and they're vacuuming up through the intelligence agencies to control multiple oppositions. They always control the opposition from multiple angles. They control, for example, Democrats. They control Republicans. They control, arguably, independents. So all of this is a part of the PSYOP. What we have now is a war. A spiritual war, number one, an ideological war, a physical war, a war in Israel, a war in Gaza, a war in Ukraine, a war against China, a war against Russia, a literal attack and strike force that hit Iran. And by the way, that's been very unpopular with a lot of people that were speaking out that are no longer with us. Again, to me, that was a sacrificial event. You know what I'm talking about? The elites, through their skull and bones, their demonic ways, show what they're going to do. They make a sacrifice, and now I'm seeing false leaders, hirelings. Read the verses in the Bible about I am the good shepherd, the false teachers, right? Those that come in his name that aren't of God or Christ, of hope or joy or peace of salvation. They're going to lead the sheep from the narrow path straight to slaughter. So this is what's happening now. Again, your source of enslavement is not the two-party system necessarily, although that's part of it. It is the monetary system ripping you off. It is the wealth transfer. It is the dollar collapse. It is centralized power and authorities, the same we were fighting from King George. So when the colonists came here to form the 13 colonies, as we've done with islandproject.com, they weren't looking for more big government. They weren't looking for more surveillance. They weren't looking for the revocation of passports, as we're seeing, if you speak out against the government. They weren't looking for more big government. They were looking towards less of it. Less of it. So the government, you must understand, isn't the solution. You are. Again, we see this through all civilizations, populations, indigenous groups. The source of their takeover was not just the power of new technology, like blockchain, Bitcoin, the GUN, right? The firing stick they had never seen before. But more importantly, the monetary system itself that destroyed them, that enslaved them. No longer did they have a system of barter. No longer was there a system of trade. They got away from the source of God, farming, family, community, hunting, right? All of that working together. They became alienated. We saw these people come in and replace their culture. That's happening now. We've seen them control oppositional groups, poach hirelings and people that are false leaders as they move to take everything over. And that is what is happening now, folks. This, I believe, is the greatest heist in world history. This, in my opinion, is the greatest event, but also opportunity for freedom and liberty that you have ever witnessed. And what you do today matters. I am General Greene for a reason. I came from the hand of God, sent from the kingdom of heaven, from the heavens above, to build a real world solution, to free you from economic monetary slavery, so that you could avoid the upheaval, that you could thrive, get on offense with new technology, the power of a new GUN, with islandproject.com, the digital Noah's Ark, and build a community and an ohana and a family of great men and great women that love you. So keep in mind that the takeover is happening now, that the division you feel has been orchestrated. It's a psychological operation by the deep state, by the three-letter agencies. They're rolling out a new monetary system to replace the old dollar. And that is the true source of the tyranny. I suggest you fight back peacefully. You do it with us. You build. You focus on God. You focus on the heaven above. Jesus Christ is King. And you 1000X. God bless. Major announcements. Deck 2 coming. Multiple state homes. I've got several new beachfront penthouses in acquisition mode right now. International expansion. Papa John's firing up the freaking Learjet. And I've got multiple visitors across all these beautiful Hawaiian Islands as we speak. No bank debt. Living their investment at islandproject.com. Deck 2 coming. RSVP 808-442-2934. That's 808-442-2934. Like and share. God bless. Up only.